Welcome to Florida Gators Live, episode number 51. And there was some pretty significant news that came out earlier today around 1 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't seem to remember what it was.
Are you talking about Colorado State moving on from fourth-year coach Jay Norvell? Is that what you're referencing?
That might be it. But no, of course, we're talking about Billy Napier officially being fired from the University of Florida. It's something that during the offseason we thought, hey, it looks like he's going to avoid it. He was on the hot seat basically, the entire season of the Miami, since the Miami game of 2023. Even before that, he was a bit on the hot seat after that 2023 season and losing 5 straight games. But really, when we lost to Miami, and then especially when we ended up losing the game to Arkansas and missing a bowl, and then Missouri, the 4th and 17, and then, of course, the FSU game, battle of the backups. But no, this has been news that we've been waiting on for since that Miami game. Since Texas A&M was like the first time we're like, okay, it might actually happen. And it's like, we're going to wait till the bye week, but we don't. Mississippi State, we get that game. Offense looks good, and then the team starts to improve. Lagway gets hurt against Georgia, but then they actually end up winning some big-time games. And, hey, I was bought in. I saw the belief right there. I saw the message that Billy was giving. Scott Strickland gave the vote of confidence and everything, and I was bought in. I mean, we both picked this team to go into the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Yes, at 9-3, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we were both in thinking that, hey, the team was there. And from a roster perspective, it's still pretty much there. I mean, you can't look at all of our games and see, some of the tough teams we've played. Or, I mean, just look at the entirety of college football right now and say that Florida's roster is a long time away. Our roster right now is closer to being a playoff roster than what Dan Mullen's left for Billy Napier in his first season.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, you look at the talent, like it's not like, Florida's been fairly competitive in all of these losses. I mean, scoreboard for Miami and A&M didn't end up looking great, but it's like in none of these games did it feel like Florida was outclassed from a talent perspective.
No, not at all. But let's get straight into this segment here. Billy Napier has officially been fired. First technically reported by In All Kinds of Weather on Twitter. Did you see that?
I did. Yeah, I did see that.
He was the first one to report it, and then there was some other smaller person named that report. Like, I was expecting it, and Dan Thompson, he even tweeted like, "Hey, 30 to 45 minutes," and it was probably like 35 minutes later that those tweets were sent out there. So it was expected. So you got to smaller accounts, maybe some local accounts that maybe, I don't know if they jumped the gun, because they didn't jump the gun, but you kind of wait to see one of the big names like the Pete Thamels or just ESPN or On3 come out to report it. But Tyler, what was your initial reaction when the news dropped?
I mean, frankly, it was just like a feeling of relief, to be honest with you. Like I don't want to, I don't want to like discount the human element too much in the way we talk about coach firings, but like at the end of the day, it's part of the business and these guys are compensated well for it. So, I mean, like like we talked about last night, I think I said I came down on the side of saying it was going to happen, but I was very worried that it wouldn't. And especially, you talk about kind of the process of how it played out this morning and this afternoon. There was kind of the conflicting reports from 247 and On3 that whether there was a team meeting that the players were called for this morning. Initially reported that there was, later reported that it was not, that did not happen. So that, that kind of had it like, oh, I don't know, maybe it's not going to happen today. But then obviously reports of the actual meeting at 2 p.m. came out. And then a few minutes after that, Matt Zenitz and Richard Johnson of CBS 247, they broke the news that Florida, Billy was officially out at Florida. But I mean, yeah, just like relief, because I couldn't handle another game of this, to be honest with you. I really didn't want to do 2 more weeks of this. I think I'm excited to see what the remainder of the staff and the people who have been elevated can do from here on out. So I'm just excited to see that.
Yeah, when the first couple tweets came out from the local smaller accounts that said he was fired, I was at a Japanese steakhouse, for my grandmother's birthday. So I was there, with my dad next to me, like, hey, it went through. And then when I started driving home, that's when the tweets started coming out, and no texting and driving, of course. So I decided to race home so I could actually come on and view what everyone's opinions and see what any of the latest news is. But yeah, it was definitely a moment of relief, especially considering the fact that, as you said, as the day kept going on and conflicting reports kept coming up saying it wasn't going to happen. Like I, I still felt confident, but there was definitely a part inside of me that was like, are we really not going to fire this guy? Are we going to have to wait until the end of the season? I mean, there is no way he's going to make it past the season. So it's like, at worst case scenario, you're waiting until after the season or the last couple weeks of the season to fire Billy Napier. But what you're saying, I don't want to go through these last couple another game with Billy Napier. Like, even if we have a close game with Georgia, I doubt. I'm not going to say win it, but even if we have a close game with Georgia, it's just going to be frustrating. There's going to be so many little things you point at and be like, oh my God, we lose by 10 points. And there's this play, and the offense just going stagnant for 2 quarters. That really ends up costing Florida a big time matchup in a rivalry game. So I was also just happy. And I'm also excited to see what our interim head coach, Willie Gonzalez, and, Russ Callaway now likely calling plays, what they can do. And, we're going to talk about that later on in the show. But it's going to be nice to see a fresh change here at UF.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and again, I don't want to get too much into this now because we're going to talk about it more later, but, I'm just interested to see because we're going to kind of find out, everyone's kind of been calling to see Russ Callaway get an opportunity. It seems like we're going to finally get to see, and I'm curious to see if they can maximize more out of this offense because I think the talent's there, even if the offensive line has maybe been a bit disappointing, but I'm curious if you can scheme your way around that to an extent. And I think the reason I really, because like typically I'd kind of be like, whether you do it now, whether you do it at the end of the season, like it's a lost season. It is what it is. But I genuinely think Billy's like game day management is a negative asset. Like I think it's holding this team back from winning games. I still think it could win. Like I don't look at the rest of the schedule and see a single game. I'm like, Florida has no shot. There's not absolutely. A game. There's not a game I feel that way about, especially now. I mean, obviously Billy G never been a head coach in any capacity. So we're going to find out how he handles those situations. But no, it's just, I think everyone, even people that were pretty supportive of Billy coming into the year that like really believed in him, didn't want to fire him, maybe even still held out a little bit of hope after like USF. I don't know. I think there were still a few people like that. I think everyone pretty much universally was exhausted and ready for a change. I mean, you heard that in the swamp last night where everyone was chanting fire Billy. I've never seen that before. I never saw it. Yeah. It never got that bad for Muschamp or McElwain or Mullen.
Did it ever have the chance to get that bad? I mean,
yeah, that's true. Florida wasn't doing great attendance wise back then.
Yeah, no, but like, I mean, all the other coaches still had like successful points in their career. Now, whether that's because of the schedule or not, winning games is still better than losing games, no matter what you say. So, Mullen still hadn't made the SEC championship game, and it's like, hey, one bad season, should you fire him? The writing was on the wall that you should, and they made the right move, firing him. But it definitely wasn't just a.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, we hate this guy. It wasn't definitely just a hate this guy, get him out of here. He's done nothing for us. Like he had won a lot of games in the previous 3 years before the year he was fired.
Yeah, no, you're right. I just wanted to add, like, I think that's a good point, and like every other coach Florida's fired, really, even including like going back to Zook. There's always been like something they could point to. Like Zook won some big games, and Muschamp had the 11-win season, McElwain in the SEC championships or appearances, Mullen the New Year's 6 wins. Like every coach, there was kind of always a counter argument. Like even when I think it became apparent that moving on from those coaches was the right call, there was always like a valid comeback. Like, well, hey, what about this? What about this? That really didn't exist with Billy. I mean, it's like the one win over Ole Miss, I guess, the Utah game 3 years ago. There's like games that you can point to, but never
not the season.
Never the season, never even I guess, unless you really want to count the 4-game stretch last year, like never even really prolonged stretches within a season, no championships, never winning anything or even really being in a position to maybe win anything. So there really was just nothing you could point to. And I think when it became clear that this wasn't getting better and it wasn't going to get right under him, I think everyone kind of was just ready to move on.
Yeah, it was losing the games that you shouldn't lose.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't necessarily mean losing games to teams that are good teams. But like the Tennessee game last year, a competent coach should not be losing that game based on how the game went. That's something that was caused by Billy Napier's lack of coaching discipline. And, I mean, you can say play calling, but I think, that was a microcosm of the loss. But like, I think there were some other coaching factors like special teams errors. I mean, the fumble happens, but like other coaching factors that end up losing that Tennessee game. And 7-5 versus 8-4. Maybe that's not a huge difference, but I mean, it's still. I mean, that still would be 2 games better than what Billy had done, or 3 games better if you include a 9-4 bowl win, even than what Billy had done. And hey, 9 wins definitely sounds a lot better than 7 or 8.
Yeah, I mean that 9 wins is what South Carolina had last year when everyone was like, hey, this team kind of got robbed of a chance to go play in the playoffs. So
yeah,
I mean, again, it's like, it's never about an individual game, but those individual games start to add up. And then when it's kind of over and you have the power of hindsight, you can look back. I mean, there's a ton of potential pivot points kind of looking back at Billy's tenure. What if he had hired Cade Bell, coming off that 2023 season? What if he had hired an OC or the, Charlie Weiss Jr.? Like if he had actually gone and hired Charlie Weiss Jr., I think, there's so many things where you can look back with Napier and say, if at this point something different had happened, maybe like what if Florida doesn't lose that Arkansas game in 2023? Do they completely collapse from there? Like, I don't know, but ultimately there were just too many of those moments and too many missed opportunities and just an overall failure to, like, I think they built a good foundation. They acquired talent. I think the culture was good, but the development wasn't particularly good. I think the year-to-year roster management wasn't particularly good. Like they just didn't have the follow through to execute on any of the things that they wanted to.
I want to ask you this. So, not including play calling, what do you think the biggest mistake of Billy Napier's tenure here at Florida was?
Like the biggest singular mistake? Okay, that's actually, so I mean, I'll point back to, I think, I'm not going to say I was out on Billy Napier in this moment, but this was the first time I was really like, I don't know if this is the right guy. Was going into 2023, actually, before the season had even started during the offseason. It felt like to me, I think Billy really came into this job with an old school mindset in terms of how to build it. I think Billy had, he had a long-term vision. He was the one who came in and stressed like, hey, this is going to take some time. That's not how college football works anymore. It shouldn't and shouldn't be expected to take that much time. So I think Billy was still in slow build mode. And I'm just looking going into his second season in 2023. And I don't think that he really was, coming off a 6-7 season, was as aggressive as he should have been, like saying, hey, we're still pretty far from where we need to be competing for something here in year 2. I'm going to go be aggressive in the portal, even if that's not necessarily the way I want to build this team. And they didn't really do that. So I think punting on the opportunity to like try to be better than, because I don't think that year 2 team was like 5-7 bad. It was just kind of
I can point out individual games where you look at the Arkansas game, we lose in OT. The Missouri game where we lose on a 4th and 17 that we give up. The FSU game, Utah game, like Utah controlled it, but like they won by 2 scores, but that was still a kind of closer game, like a controlling close game. Yeah. Ray Davis just running for 5,000 yards on us, like that just should never happen.
Yeah. So just to kind of distill what I'm saying, I think the biggest mistake Billy Napier made, other than not giving up play calling, was, I think I would just say, like, a fundamental misunderstanding. I think they got better at this and figured it out as they went along, but it was too little too late by then. I think a fundamental misunderstanding early on about what you have to do to be successful in a job like this, and trying to build it like it's a Sunbelt school, frankly, not, an SEC power with resources to go and get a championship quality roster.
Do you think if we had hired Billy 3 years earlier, he would have been a successful coach here at UF?
Yeah, I think he would have been successful, probably in a similar way to how we view Mario as successful, in the sense that getting talent, winning games. Do you lose some that you probably shouldn't because of, like, frankly, boneheaded game? I don't think that part would have been different, but I think there's a lot of coaches that do. Frankly, to address Matthew's comment, like James Franklin is kind of one of those guys to an extent where, obviously is a good coach, but has some things just in terms of how they approach games that can prove costly. So I think he would have been like that. And I feel the same way. And like, I think if Dan had gotten hired a year later and not gotten burnt out like right ahead of the NIL era, I think Dan probably could have been more successful in the current era of college football too at the highest level, because it's less ground, less legwork you have to do as the head coach to get talent in the building.
I mean, yeah, go back and look. Dan's best defensive player here was a transfer in Jonathan Grenard.
Mm-hmm. And Van Jefferson, great transfer. Trayvon Grimes,
yeah, Van Jefferson,
transfer.
Yep.
No, he was like a proto transfer portal user. Like before it was really like this like proliferated thing. Dan was getting guys. And so I think Dan had a really good understanding of like finding edges. I think he was just not up to what being an elite recruiter from, deep in the past until 2022-ish required of you.
Yeah. It's just a timing. Timing's the most important thing here in football, college or NFL. It's just when you hire him, when he's the right guy, and, the place, location. It's just, it sucks because Billy was a good person, someone who's easy to root for here. And if he got things going, it would have been really cool to see with all the recruiting, all the hype here. That would have been really nice to see. But no, it didn't work out. And now we got to go find out who's going to be the next coach here at UF.
Yeah. I mean, another one of these too, fifth since 2010. I mean, it's pretty insane the amount of turnover. They really got to get this one right. I mean, I know we said that last time, but you really got to get this one right.
Yeah, I mean, if you get this, this will be the fifth coaching hire since Urban Meyer.
This would be the fifth. This will be the sixth coach, including Urban Meyer, like since 2010. Yeah. Fifth search since Urban Meyer. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you get that many wrong, get me that many wrong in a row
in a span of 15 years. Yeah, man, got to get it right.
Yeah, and hopefully we do, because that's when things could start going downhill. Because I know the money that's about to be poured into this one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially considering you have to pay $20 million just to fire Billy.
Yeah, I mean, I think Florida is very much. I don't think they're there yet. Like, I think people who draw this comparison don't really understand what's actually going on behind the scenes. But like, Florida is in a position where you're like a failed hire away from kind of being viewed the way people view Nebraska, to where, at some point you kind of just might have to accept that the conditions that led to you being successful in the past don't exist anymore. Now, I don't really think that's true in Florida's case.
No.
But after, 7 coaches, it'll get to a point where you might have to start to wonder. So got to get this one right.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about Matthew's comment here? I really do think this ends with Franklin. I got that weird feeling.
I don't think, like, I think a situation where the search gets to a point where you might look at someone like Franklin isn't too hard to foresee. I just think even though, because I don't think Franklin's even that bad of an option. There's options I would prefer.
No, I agree.
There's options that have come up I would prefer Franklin over. I just think the optics of hiring a guy who, and I think we talked about this last night, like the optics of hiring a guy in James Franklin, who a school that Florida would like to think it's at least at the same level as, if not potentially better than. I mean, I've seen multiple people, national people not affiliated with the program, rank Florida as the best open job. Pete, this job still has,
all of the people I've seen have said that.
Yeah. I mean, this is still the perception this job holds. So I think for Florida to then go and hire a guy who was deemed not good enough at Penn State, I think that'd be pretty optically tough for them to handle, even though I think it probably would be fine in the long run.
Yeah, probably be fine. But no, let's get into our week pick'ems here. This is now week 8, just off the board now. Last week I went 4-4. Natuno, he went 5-3, beat me out once again. We both got the Miami game wrong. I mean, talk about Carson Beck having a horrible game. I mean, I did not think that was possible from Carson Beck.
No, that was like pure concentrated Carson Beck, like just like distilled down to his purest form.
Absolutely. Then Vanderbilt does it against LSU, and they did it in a way they just dominated the game, controlled the game, wasn't fluky in any way. And LSU, He's not there yet, but Brian Kelly could. You know what Brian Kelly's next 3 opponents are for LSU?
I know the games. I don't know the order. Oh, I know the next one's A&M. I know A&M.
They host A&M. Then they have the bye week before going to Alabama, and then they host Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2-1 if you're lucky coming through that stretch.
I think 0-3 is very possible. Not predicting that, but I think it's very possible because, I mean, I don't see him beating A&M. I don't see them beating Bama. And then Arkansas can score points. And if LSU's offense can't put anything up, like, if LSU's offense can't score, Arkansas could low-key win that game.
I think there's a path to beating A&M. I think Bama's going to be tough. I think Bama's a pretty bad matchup for them.
It is at home. I just don't see LSU's offense scoring.
Yeah.
Like, A&M's defense isn't perfect. I mean, we saw it against Arkansas last night, but it's still good enough to shut down bad offenses. Just look at us. Look at Mississippi State. Look at Auburn. Like, they're good enough to shut down bad offenses. And I don't see LSU being better than bad at all. So, you know, we'll predict that game. We'll predict that game, but I think maybe we even won't, but you know, we'll see. But we both picked Georgia. What a game that was.
Yeah.
Good thing Georgia won. Lane Kiffin, if he had his undefeated team, like, maybe he doesn't want to leave. South Carolina, Oklahoma. You had Oklahoma. I had South Carolina. Beamer, he's recently said that South Carolina is his dream job. He's not leaving from Virginia Tech. I you know, respect going down with the ship, but like, it's not gonna happen now. But in a year, next season, maybe I can see that job. I can see him being fired.
Yeah, I think it's a tough spot for Beamer because it's like, I think the idea of beating the band out of town there might not be a bad one. I just don't think Virginia Tech's the job you do it for because, like, sentimentality aside, I'm not sure that's a very good job. You know, they announced that big cash infusion, but what I didn't even realize until like the last few days is, as far as I understand, that's all like hypothetical money. That's not like we've collected this money. That's like a guarantee. Like, we're going to go get this much money. Like, we're going to find a way to extract it. But that's a lot different than like being gifted $200 million that you have, you know, carte blanche on how you want to use it. So like, I'm not saying they have no money, but what I'm saying is, like, from what I understand, what they announced, that's not necessarily like cash they have in hand. So my point being, we'll see. But as things currently stand, I just don't think that's a very good job.
No, I understand that. We both had Notre Dame beating USC. We both had Utah, and they lost to BYU. I mean, I don't know if BYU's better or if Utah's worse than I expected. Like,
I think a little bit of both for me.
Yeah, that's fair. And then I had Missouri. You had Auburn. What a game that was. I mean,
I thought I was going to get that one, man. I really thought I was going to get that one.
Yeah, and then both teams, I mean, Auburn misses the long field goal, and then Missouri misses the chip shot to win it in the first OT. Like, what a game. But no, let's get here to week 9. Last week we predicted the Miami Louisville game. There's no good weeknight games this week. Cal at VT is probably the best one, and yeah. But looking at Saturday, do we want to predict UCLA at Indiana? I mean, UCLA's been playing better.
It's interesting, but it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
No. So we'll go down here to another noon game. With how the schedule lays out, I'm kind of shocked this is a noon, but number 8 Ole Miss at 13 Oklahoma on in Norman Gaylord Stadium. Oklahoma, I'm still not sure what to think. Like, the defense is obviously really good.
Yeah.
You know, Napier coming back from the injury, I'm still not sold on him. Like, you know, played better, I guess, but I also don't like this Ole Miss defense and this Ole Miss offense get the Oklahoma defense. It's also at Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a 3.5-point favorite. Maybe surprises me a little bit. But what do you think on this game?
I like Ole Miss. I think so. I just am not a fan of Oklahoma, to be honest with you. Like, I just don't love the way they're built. I mean, defensively, like you said, they're really good. They had Lenore Sellers in a blender, but I think you got to imagine Ole Miss can score on them. Like, you got to imagine, like, Texas could score on them a little bit. You got to imagine Ole Miss can. So,
But
I
is
guess
Lane's head in a different place right now?
yeah, that's fair. Hey, maybe it was on Saturday. No, I mean, I think I just don't trust this Oklahoma offense. Like, yeah, like Ole Miss's defense is bad, but I don't know. I still don't know if John Napier, like, with where he's at right now. I don't really see how this matchup benefits Oklahoma. I think it'll be fairly close, but I like Ole Miss.
Yeah, the only thing here is it's at Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I was about to say, and Ole Miss looked pretty good against Georgia at Georgia, but they still lost. So
I feel like Oklahoma's managed to get a lot of these big games at home. It feels like Michigan was at home, Auburn was at home. Oh, that's not a huge game in hindsight, but like this is at home.
Yeah, that's true. I don't like Oklahoma, but I don't like Ole Miss in this spot. I'm just gonna pick who I think the better team is. So give me Ole Miss here in this game. Although I feel like somebody could slip up here. All right. Next game we're gonna take. It's not the greatest slate for games. I guess we have to go to the 3:30 window here. I guess we go straight to college game day here. Missouri at Vanderbilt, 3:30 on ESPN. I think this game's pretty simple. I think Vanderbilt's just a better team. I don't think this Missouri offense is anything special. Ahmad Hardy, is pretty good. Bo Prabula, like, it's a good running back, quarterback tandem right there to run the ball, but the pass game doesn't really have anything working for it. The O-line's okay. I like this Vanderbilt offense. Pavi has been playing great. They're playing really good controlled football. Like, they're taking long drives. I think they scored on every drive in the first half against LSU, and it was like, I think they had one big play on one of the drives, but everything else was like 6-7 minute drives. So if they could do that on LSU, I think they can do it on Missouri as well. So give me Vanderbilt to win this game and really, really solidify themselves as a playoff contender.
Yeah, I think I like Vandy a little bit more. Like, I think they're the team I trust more, but I will say this does really feel like a potential letdown spot to me. Especially with this being like another ranked game at home. Like I think maybe Missouri can run in this game. I think it'll probably be pretty high scoring. I'll try to expand my lead and I'll take Missouri.
Awesome. Okay, got Missouri there. Yeah, we don't have too many games this week, so either way, I mean, at this point, you're pretty far ahead, so I don't know if you have to worry about the lead, but
I'm running up the score. This is I didn't hear no bell. We didn't hit triple zeros.
All right, you know what? I'll remember that. Next game we'll do, because we gotta pick some games here. Number 23 Illinois at Washington. Not the biggest game here, but like we gotta pick some games here, and this is interesting.
It's not even bad. I just I don't even know how I feel about either of these teams.
Washington has struggled against good teams, got 24-7 against Michigan. I mean, everyone's going to blend it by Ohio State. And I mean, Maryland's solid, and it took a 21-point fourth quarter to even win that game. But, Illinois has got a good offense, good QB. It's at Washington. I'm going to take Washington here. Okay. I think Fish gets a big win or a good win.
Man, I hate picking the teams that have to make the cross-ish country trip. I feel like I always pick them and they never win. But man, well, it's like when you look at Washington, their games against Ohio State and Michigan, they kind of just got beat up front, like out physicaled on both sides. I think Illinois maybe has the potential to do that. I like the Illinois defensive front. Man, I hate it. I wish I would feel so much better if this was at Illinois, but I will go Illinois. So giving you a chance to come back here a little bit, gain
I'm going to have the lead by the end of this week.
Yeah.
That's not even mathematically possible, but All right, next game we're going to pick here. This is honestly very, very difficult to pick, and it's going to sound stupid. Texas at Mississippi State in Davis-Wade Stadium. I'm telling you, you're going first. I have zero clue who to pick here.
I'm going to go Texas, and I'm going to go Texas pretty confidently. I don't think – I think I'm not sure Mississippi State like has it on defense
Does Texas?
necessarily.
Oh,
Well,
sorry.
I was saying like on defense, I don't think Mississippi State has it. Like I think Texas is figuring some things out. I mean, obviously, little alarming last night. I guess I'm willing to say Kentucky can be kind of a tough place to play. I don't know. I don't know if it's probably not even any harder than Starkville. Yeah, I think Texas's problems won't get them here. Because like Kentucky still couldn't do anything on offense in this game. Like they still shut Kentucky down
That's true.
last night. And I also just, I was pretty impressed with Jeff Lebby and the way they had improved coming into this year. But I don't know, man. He didn't handle he should not have lost that game last night. Like the way he handled some decisions has me wondering if he could pull it off in a close game. So.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of blame more of that on Chapin, but then it's like, hey, can Chapin handle himself in those close games?
Yeah.
My mind is saying Texas. My gut's saying Mississippi State. I'm gonna follow my gut. No, I'm not. I'm following my mind. I'm saying Texas. Yeah, Miss State barely over Texas.
I mean, if they win that game, they'll win it like 13-10. I think. I'd be pretty surprised if Mississippi State won.
Texas offense was horrible against Kentucky.
Yeah, I didn't watch a ton of that game, so I can't really speak on how well Arch played. But I thought the fact that they found some things against a really good Oklahoma defense had me being like, maybe they're turning like the slightest bit of corners. But
maybe they slept walk into that game.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, a little bit of a letdown spot there for them, obviously coming off Red River.
But could Mississippi State also be a sleepwalk type of a game? I think Mississippi State's more likely to take advantage of it.
That's definitely no. Mississippi State's a better team than Kentucky. I don't disagree with that at all. But I just like, are they going to sleepwalk 2 weeks in a row, both on the road? I'll say, yeah, I'm going to say they don't, but I understand why someone would pick Mississippi State.
Absolutely. But we go Texas there. Coming off their big win last night, Stanford at Miami. No, I'm kidding. Miami's a 30-point favorite.
Ooh, that's a lot. That's too many
30
points.
Is a lot.
That's too many points
like
for
Miami's
Miami
gonna be mad though.
They might be, but like, do you think the offense is like that good to just like put up enough points to win that game by 30? I don't know.
I think it is. I think Stanford is not that good.
I mean, Stanford sucks. Like, there's no. I think I don't think that any of that was like maybe Stanford's not bad. No, FSU is just free falling. Stanford's terrible.
Yeah. All right. So, how many games is that we've picked? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, our fifth game here. Texas A&M at LSU. I know you've hinted a little bit. I'm clearly going A&M here. I know their defense struggled a little bit against Arkansas, but I fully trust their defense to shut down LSU. Maybe LSU's defense gives them a game here, but I still think the explosivity of this A&M offense with Reed, with Craver, with Conception, and Owens and Amari Daniels. Like I assume Moss is still out, but like I still like the run game and O-line enough, and I think A&M's going to be able to do enough to win this game, and I think they win it comfortably, like a 27-10 type of game, maybe a late score.
Okay.
I do not like LSU at all.
I don't see it being that bad. I am taking A&M, but I don't see it being that bad. I kind of see this game playing out probably pretty similarly to how the Ole Miss LSU game did.
Okay.
So I kind of think it'll be fairly close. I will say though, Chris, if it is A&M big, then we are on LSU opening watch, which by the way, I really don't want that. I think that would be the worst case scenario for Florida if LSU also were to open in the cycle.
It would be interesting for sure. Because that's, everyone's saying Florida's better than Penn State. Like they're all saying it's widely better. But I mean, I think we're also looking at a different pool of candidates.
Yeah, whereas
LSU, Lane Kiffin's never going to Pennsylvania for a job.
But Lane Kiffin could go to Baton Rouge. Like that's
possible.
Why
I don't think he would, but it is possible. But Kelly will get one more year.
I agree. I think he will. It's too much money. I don't think
that's what I was going to say. I think it's a lot of money, but from a logistics standpoint, like they just went all in on this season, and if they I think they lose their next two, and the Arkansas game, and they still have Oklahoma. Like I think LSU could legitimately be 7-5. 7-5. I think 8-4 is like I'm not going to say it's the ceiling, but I think that's kind of the ceiling, 8-4.
I guess like if they collapse that bad, they might not have a choice. I don't think it's going to end. I don't think it's going to be as bad as you're acting like it will, but I think they are probably heading for like best case 9-3, worst case, or not worst case, but most likely case, probably like 8-4.
Yeah, 8-4. Back-to-back years, 8-4.
Which not ideal, but is that bad enough to pay $70 million? I don't know.
Is it $70 million?
It was that at one point. It might be down a little bit now. I'll tell you. I actually have
52.
That's all it is. I said that's all. That's all. The second biggest buyout.
Double.
Second biggest buyout of all time.
Well, third after FSU fires Norvell.
Yeah, that contract is so weird to me too. I guess he's making less because he took a pay cut this year. Because like it's crazy that he's making $5.5 million, basically a little over $5.5 million with a $60 million buyout.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like how that.
Well, because he was making 10, he took a pay cut after last year.
Yeah, to put it towards the NIL or
Yeah, they pulled a little Gundy. They pulled a little Gundy kind of thing with Norvell last year.
Yeah, and then last game we'll pick because we need to add another game. Maybe something you don't notice here: Houston is low key 6-1. They don't have any crazy wins, but they're winning their games. And, Austin Armstrong being the defensive coordinator, so we'll bring him up here. Maybe in a letdown spot for Arizona State after their big win over Texas Tech. Will Hammond, the backup, was starting for Texas Tech, but still, nonetheless, a big win for Arizona State. But Houston at Arizona State, do you think Houston could get maybe a sleepy Arizona State team here in a letdown spot?
Yeah. I mean, maybe, because I think Houston might actually be decent. They still haven't really been tested. They've kind of benefited from an extremely light schedule to this point. I still don't know how good they are. I mean, I think Willie Fritz doing a tremendous job. They're obviously clearly way improved. I still don't really love Arizona State, but like I said pretty confidently that I thought Texas Tech was going to go 12-0 and win this, or 13-0 and win this conference. So, and Arizona State just kind of handled them pretty impressively. And the backup thing, I mean, I don't know. At times, Will Hammond against Utah looked better than Baron Morton. So I don't know how big of like a downgrade that is. I'm not sure that was like the reason. The letdown spot is something here, but I think I will still go Arizona State.
Give me Houston to pull the upset and really jump on people's radars.
Okay.
I got to get the game that gives me an automatic L, so don't worry.
The Big 12 is truly wide open if that happens. I mean, maybe not like on paper, but just it is as chaotic as we thought. I mean, maybe, but like Cincy's undefeated in Big 12 play.
That's true.
Someone else is BYU's undefeated in Big 12 play. Well, undefeated, period. But
yeah, undefeated. What's their rank? What did they jump up to?
They're in the coaches. They're 10. I'm not sure where they're at in the AP.
AP poll 11th.
Okay.
Wow. Man, they just do this again, back-to-back years. Don't see him coming, but
Kalani Sitake is a really good coach. I don't think he's ever going to leave. I don't think he's ever going to. Maybe like a couple jobs he would leave for, but like I don't think he will. But man, he's a great coach.
Notre Dame after we fire. Oh wait, no. Why am I saying Notre Dame?
Yeah.
No,
so
but
he's a BYU alum. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. But we will be right back after this message from our sponsor.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select a betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
Welcome back to Florida Gators Live. And, I just read an interesting post. I'm not going to say it because it's a paid website, but it was from an Ole Miss staffer talking about Lane Kiffin and whether he'll leave and question stuff to ask. But I'm not going to say what was said, but what I will say, if there was an answer he could give that was positive for UF, this would be the answer.
Okay.
I'd say this makes me kind of think that he's definitely not closing the door based on what was said in that article.
I mean, I think the idea of Lane having zero interest in this job, I think, is naive.
Yeah, it's ludicrous.
I'm not saying it's a given that he's taking it. I think it's very much not a given. I know people that are like, no doubt about it, Lane would leave for Florida. I don't feel that way. I think it's very much a question. I think Lane himself is kind of fickle, but I mean, it's definitely something that it piques his interest. I don't doubt that for a second.
Yeah, as long as it's not Luke Fickle.
Yeah.
I mean,
man, you see they're keeping him.
It
seems like, at least for not necessarily for next year, but it doesn't sound like they're imminently firing him.
Dude, it's I guess it's the buyout. I don't know. I mean,
what's crazy is the buyout, from what I understand, is incremental, paid in installments. They don't owe anything up front. It's biannual payments or something like that, or maybe once a year payments.
Yeah, he won't sign an extension yet. Florida's ready to throw down highest paid coach money. Yeah, I'll say I've heard some high amounts that Florida's willing to pay for Lane.
And I think Ole Miss is willing to pay a lot to keep him around. I will just say that.
But let's get straight into it.
Yeah.
With Billy Napier being fired, who are the initial candidates that we want or that we need to be on the lookout for that Florida could or possibly will hire for the 2026 season? And, the obvious name we were just talking about him is Lane Kiffin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he grew up idolizing Steve Spurrier, him being an offensive mind and, running up scores a bit, loving to score as many points as he can is because of Steve Spurrier and watching UF in the, in the 90s. So, the question's going to be, would Lane Kiffin take the job? I think there's a chance he will. I don't think it's crazy to say that he will take the job. Tyler, what is your thoughts on whether or not Lane Kiffin will or will not take the job?
No, I mean, I don't think it's crazy at all. I mean, I think, look, Florida is going to, from everything I've heard, this isn't my own reporting, just from everything I've seen and heard, it sounds like he's the guy. It sounds like it sounds like he's the guy who the boosters want. And it sounds like at the very least, Scott is not going to put up a fight about that. So it seems to me like Florida is getting ready to send the full court press on Lane. And I mean, they're going to offer, I haven't heard an actual number, but they're going to offer him $13 to $14 million, I would think, a year. Obviously.
I'll say the highest paid coach right now in college football is Kirby Smart at $13.3 million.
Okay. Yeah,
I believe Day is second, I think maybe 13 or high 12s, and then Signetti is third now, or will be third next season, I guess, at 12.5, right? That's the number? Or
11.6.
11.5. 11.6?
Yeah.
So, from what my understanding is, Florida is willing to make an offer that puts him in that top 5 easily. Top 3, maybe even range. So, I don't think whether or not Florida can afford him is a real question.
No. And I mean, yeah, if Lane is announced as the head coach of Florida, he will he will do that. In doing that, will become a top 2 at least highest paid coach in college football. Probably will be a market resetting contract. I mean, we'll see what Penn State does, obviously. I don't think it'll be a market resetting if it's Rule, but maybe if they, another guy who might be on our list, and Marcus Freeman, and maybe if they went and got someone like that, they would potentially be in the market to do that too. Point being, UF financially can make an offer that will get, pique Lane's interest. I think it's really more of a question of does Lane Kiffin feel like being at Florida gives him a significantly better chance to compete for a national championship? And also, I think Sorry, what were you gonna say about that?
I was gonna say, does he have that competitive drive to win a national championship right now? I mean,
think so.
I think that's what I think, and that's why I think he will be the next coach here. But it comes down to, does he want to leave Ole Miss? And not because he has a better chance or equal chance at UF to win a title, because I think people who say that are kind of just naive. Like, I'm not saying Florida is miles ahead of Ole Miss. I mean, Indiana could win the national championship this year. I'm not saying they will, but the way they handled Oregon, they didn't dominate them, but they handled them at a level of a team that had a recruiting level at the site of Oregon, which Oregon recruits well enough to beat Ohio State as well. So if that's the Indiana team, Indiana can win a national title. And I would still say Florida has better chances to win it based on the job and the talent and the history and the resources available. But in today's day and age, and with all the college football world like being very close together right now, he could win it at Ole Miss. But obviously, it's pretty clear that you have a better chance to win it at Florida than you would at Ole Miss.
Yeah. Well, if I'm Scott and I'm trying to get Lane to come be the head coach of the Florida Gators, the pitch I'm making is, look at the roster, the guy we just fired, Bill. I mean, everyone in the SEC knows the score on Billy Napier, right? Like, they all know, like, they're all trying to find edges wherever they can get him. They all know Billy Napier's shortcomings as a coach. And you can go to Lane, you can be like, this guy put this roster together, a roster that was good enough to not only beat you, but beat the best roster you've had in program history. So with everything to play for, So that's my pitch is like, if this guy can do that, imagine what you can do when Lane, I think has proven, I think you could argue more than anyone except maybe like Ryan Day has proven to really understand how you can pull the levers and utilize the tools given to you to really make your roster better and maximize your resources in that way. So I think that's something where you go to Lane and be like, you can build a national championship roster here. And then I also will say, like, I think Lane has kind of been I think Lane's happy at Ole Miss. Like, I think if
he's happy for sure.
Like, if Florida just didn't make a major pursuit, they just got, were enamored with Eli Drinkwitz or whatever, I think Lane would be like, okay, fine, I'm happy at Ole Miss. But I mean, this is also a guy who has like been painstakingly noting every week how empty the student section is and stuff like that. I mean, it's hard to ignore that when Florida just had its whatever consecutive sellout.
17th?
Yeah, filling the swamp for a day game where everyone's there to cheer on and watch a pre-fired coach against a bad team. That, I mean, that is, I think, compelling in a way. That's not going to be like the singular thing he makes his decision on, but like, it's an all-encompassing thing where if Lane really wants to, give himself the best chance to win a championship, you got to think the proximity to talent, the resources, and just the support you're going to get at Florida probably gives you a better chance to do so. Even though I do think Lane can win a national championship at Ole Miss. Like, I think it's definitely possible that Lane could win a national championship at Ole Miss.
Now, my question is, does Florida have as good yoga that he does in Mississippi?
I got to imagine you can find hot yoga in Gainesville. There's got to be some pretty good hot yoga. I can't tell you that when I lived in Gainesville, I was frequenting hot yoga places, but I got to imagine you can probably do it.
Yeah, it's pretty likely here. I'm not sure. Alger, Ron, Scott. I'm just gonna say Scott. Yeah, what if Dan had this offense and defense? I mean, yeah, if Dan had this defense in 2020, is it crazy to say Florida wins the national championship or Florida makes the playoff and, we'll see what happens from there?
No, I don't think, Florida almost made the playoff with the defense it had, which was horrendous.
Yeah, it was horrendous. So, I hope that's not what you're referring, that you want Dan Mullen rehired because we have the defensive talent now, because no. And he already said he's sitting at UNLV, no take backsies. So he's stuck there, or they're stuck with him, as he said, for another season.
That was really funny to like how definitively he said that I'm like, it's like, okay,
0.0% chance he goes to Arkansas.
That was tough. And then the kicker was being like, you should hire Gus Malzahn. Like, man,
what a kick in the
teeth No, but Dan like aggressively being like, I will be the head coach at UNLV next year. It's like, all right, because you're gonna get some offers. Like someone's gonna come calling for Dan Mullen. Someone will for sure.
And I mean, with Bobby P making a 3-point game against A&M, I think Bobby Petrino is going to keep that job.
He's got to win one of these. He's got to pull one of these off.
LSU,
like, maybe.
Although they're not going to be ranked when they play them, in my opinion.
Yeah, so. That might not be good enough if you're right about where they're at.
Yeah, here, yoga outside is hot yoga.
It's a fair point.
And it's hot a lot here in Florida.
Yeah, oh man, yoga outside in August in Gainesville. Oof.
Okay, but let's get into some more candidates here because we talked about Lane. That's going to be like every site's #1 report until Lane says that he's definitively not taking this job, which, based on what I just read, seems like that's not going to be happening until it happens. But let's get
Can I say one more thing on Lane before we move on? Just something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would just say, like, you know, the extension's obviously the big talk, the rumored extension. I mean, I don't put a ton of, like, of course Ole Miss is putting that out there. Like, of course they are. You want to put pressure on your guy because now the ball's in Lane's court. But you know that now that Florida's open, they are going to try to get that done very soon. So, like, if we're a week or two out from now and still nothing there, nothing announced like the way Indiana did, I'm not saying that means he's coming, but it'll have me being like, Yeah, that's all I was going to add about that.
The article was also talking about the extension, and he had some interesting words on it.
Okay.
I'll address these. JLB, welcome back. It's great to see you. But if it's not Lane, it's Drink. I know you've talked about him. I think Drink is interesting. Does he bring his OC with him now? Because maybe he has to hire a new one. Maybe he can nail that. But who's his new OC? I forgot. Or
Kirby
not new,
Moore.
but
Kirby
Moore. That's right.
I actually saw Kirby Moore's name come up for the Colorado State job on a list today, so something to maybe keep an eye on there.
But I think if Drink's winning, things are fine. But again, it's like the McElwain. I talked about it last night. I'm pretty sure it's kind of like the McElwain thing, where it's like if it starts going bad, it could tumble real quick. And not gonna say fake death threats are coming up again, and I'm not saying he's gonna get photoshopped on a shark, but stuff could happen. I think stuff like that could happen real quick to where it's not pretty with what the outline would be there. But I think Drink is a solid candidate. He doesn't call plays anymore, but he is an offensive guy. Mm-hmm. So I think offense will definitely be better than it was under Napier. But if you miss on your top targets, I wouldn't be the most upset with Drink.
No, like I think Drink is a pretty good option. Like now, if we were engaging in this search with Drink as the guy from the start, I would think that was malpractice. But I still think, like, look, I think the thing with Drink's personality is like it can be a lot. I mean, just being real, like you got the guy at SEC Media Days or whatever, like cracking jokes about the Epstein list. Like that's just who this guy is. Mm-hmm. And it can be, it kind of almost reminds me of Dan in a way where at times it can kind of just come across as unserious. But what I will say about Drink is kind of a dog in the sense that like Drink is an aggressive recruiter. Drink finds edges. I mean, I kind of was reminded about this reading candidates list today. Like Drink went in and got like a Missouri state law change that made it easier for him to recruit, like lobby to get a law change. So, like, I mean, this is not like, I don't think the McElwain comparison is a good one in the sense that I think this guy understands, like this guy knows what it takes to win in the SEC. I think he has that in him. It's just, and I think he's similar to Lane in the sense that I think you would get some of the fun. Because, like, if we're winning and he's throwing jabs at Kirby Smart, people are going to like that. People are going to think that's fun. Mm-hmm. But I think Lane is the same way, where I think Lane's shtick, if you're losing, would also get old pretty fast.
Yeah. Cicada here. How about Brian Hartline? I think we're past that. I don't think it's happening. I think we may have been talking in the preseason, but I know he was made offensive coordinator. And maybe if the Ohio State offense was flying in, there wasn't rumors that now Brian Day is calling plays, or is it even rumors, or is it just fact? I don't even know. But if maybe Hartline was like a mastermind of their offense and was doing well, then I could see it being a higher option on the list. But I don't think you just go and hire a guy who's developed great receivers.
No, and he's recruited them too. And I think that's the selling point is like, well, if you get Brian Hartline, Florida's just going to go into Miami or whatever and get those elite guys that have been going to Ohio State, where it's like, maybe this guy's, I don't think ever coached anywhere else other than Ohio State, as far as I know. And we're talking about a school in Ohio State that had a $14 million roster pre-revenue sharing. Like before the revenue sharing year even started, they had a $14 million roster. So like the resources being like, I don't know if you can just assume those skills translate as cleanly. Like everyone's just assuming you get Hartline and it's like plug and play. You're going to be the top recruiting team in the SEC or whatever. Like, I don't know if it'll be that straightforward.
Yeah, no. So I don't think Hartline will be a candidate. Maybe a new coach will bring him on to be the wide receiver coach, but
that would be fire.
I mean, if Hartline genuinely wants to like move on and try to improve like his outstanding as a coach, what if Lane was able to bring him here? Kind of like, remember Eric Bieniemy was with Kansas City, but he could not get a head coaching job because it was like, okay, well, he has Patrick Mahomes. So then he finally moves to Washington, right?
Yeah.
He went to Washington, went to UCLA. It didn't end up working out for him.
Yes, Bieniemy, not like the happy ending case study here, but yeah.
No, but it's still an example. Like, what if he's like, okay, well, I got to go do it somewhere else to prove I'm not maybe a one-hit wonder or made by the program here, but that would be really cool because I mean Hartline is the best in the business at wide receivers. So, Scott here, Kiffin is beatable. Napier beat him. I think anyone's beatable at this point.
Yeah, I mean, who has proven themselves to not be beatable?
Like Ohio State still was losing 2 games last year.
Dan Lanning's beatable. Dan Lanning just lost to Indiana at home. Like,
DeBoer lost to a horrible FSU team.
Yeah.
Which it just looks so funny.
No, I mean, now that like Saban and like even Kirby's losing games. Kirby's losing 2 games a year now. That was like unthinkable a few years ago.
Absolutely.
There's too much parity. No one has the depth. Like you got to understand, the portal has really changed a lot of things in that regard.
It 100% has to be a proven elite head coach.
What's your definition of elite? That's kind of my question for you, Chris.
I think he's saying like Lane's elite. Lane would be an elite head coach. Marcus Freeman.
I mean,
I think based on what I assume, I think he would consider Lane because he was saying earlier he wants Lane.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And like I agree. It's just like it just depends, like, because I mean, just putting this out there. I'm not saying these are completely apples and oranges situations. He and Drink have the same exact record over the last 3 years. Just putting that out there. Lane has some more impressive wins. I think Lane's the better candidate overall, but it's just like neither's won the SEC, neither's made it to the playoff. They have the same record. I guess it just depends how big how wide your definition of elite is, because I'm not sure if you have like kind of a tight definition. Like Lane might be the only coach who's gettable that fits that description.
Proven to be able to win. I mean, I still think you look at Marcus Freeman. I know.
I don't know how
buyout for Marcus Freeman is the one thing that kind of we don't know what it is, but from what I hear, it's definitely not a cheap buyout. So that's also, like the one thing that maybe holds us back.
We don't know that he'd want to come. I mean, dude has only ever coached in the Midwest. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I know that he has had contacts with UF in the past year.
Okay, sure. I mean, that happens though. Like, I'm not saying he has zero interest in the job, but like, if you're asking me who I think would be more likely to take it if offered, it's Lane by far.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that that's not true, but yeah. Who are some other candidates? So we've now mentioned Freeman, Lane, Drink. Hartline was mentioned.
Got to talk about Franklin. I mean, you got to address Franklin. They'll kick the tires if it gets there. If Lane says no, they're going to kick the tires on Franklin. I can pretty much promise you that.
Yeah, I think Franklin's a good coach. I do think he's a little bit hated. Overhated, I should say. Like, I think he was put in a weird position with Penn State, with Drew Aller. Like, could Franklin told Drew Hauer to leave so we can go get a different QB in the portal?
I mean,
like, could he? Like, realistically?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, well, I don't know. It's like in the same sense of like, I'm not sure Florida could bench DJ Lagway. Like, that's why I was saying earlier in the year when people are calling for Trammell. It's like, man, I don't know if you can bench a $2-3 million quarterback, however much DJ is making. Like, Aller I don't know what they paid Aller this year, but to get him to come back when he was going to be a borderline first round pick, it's a lot. I can tell you it's a lot.
Was this Franklin's decision? I also wonder.
That I don't know, but I think you have to say yes because Franklin's whole deal is CEO program manager thing. True. So like, I think you got to kind of assume those decisions are his. And if they're not, it's like, what's the selling point? Because he has been a play caller in the past, but hasn't been a play caller, I don't think, ever as a head coach. I don't think he ever called plays at Vandy.
Like, I will say he's made moves that fan bases love, or our fan base would love. Like, I vividly remember when they hired Andy Kotelnicki in my chats, us Gator fans being so jealous because we're stuck here at Billy Napier calling our plays, and we'd love to have Andy Kotelnicki. And it's like, maybe Kotelnicki was overrated. Maybe the talent at Penn State was just not there. Drew Aller wasn't good, but maybe it didn't work out because of whatever reason. But he made a move that all the fans would have loved, and I assume Penn State fans also really loved. Media loved it as well. But totally. Hiring Jim Knowles, the championship-winning defensive coordinator, like I know I heard some things that Ohio State. I'm not saying they let him walk, but if Ohio State wanted Knowles to stay, he probably wouldn't have left for Penn State. And that's not saying Jim Knowles is a bad defensive coordinator, but there is saying that he has some limits to him that Ohio State knew they could let walk.
Yeah,
but
from what I understand,
on paper, it was a great hire.
I understand, there were like feet dragging on extending him. Like, I think he didn't get an extension he was hoping to get, and so I think they kind of let him walk in the sense that they didn't like compete at the negotiating table as much as they could have.
At this point in time, I'll take a cardboard cutout of Coach Spurrier.
Sorry, go ahead.
Are you talking about Steve Spurrier or Steve Spurrier Jr.?
I was going to say, if there weren't so many games left, I'd love to see if it was just like if you're like 3-7 or like whatever, 3-8 going into an FSU game.
Absolutely.
Let him do it. Let him do it. Why not? There's too many games this year to do that, obviously. But like, if it were a situation like when Greg Knox took over in 2021, like, who cares?
Here's the one problem. Steve Spurrier is 80 years old.
So I mean, like, I'm not saying give him the job. I'm just saying if it's like one pointless game, okay. You can't tell
I would love it. I would love it.
That 80-year-old Steve Spurrier beating FSU in like a lost season. You can't tell me that wouldn't be an all-time program moment. I mean, like, as much as you can have an all-time program moment in a bad season.
Like Oklahoma, they were able to get Bob Stoops to coach their bowl game after Lincoln left. But
Bob Stoops isn't 80, but still.
Yeah, Bob Stoops was 61,
like
62.
Yeah, he's like 60.
He's 65 right now, so he was like 61 or 62 when it happened. But let him coach from the press box for the last game. Retire Gator.
Funny. Hey, Hugh Freeze did it that one time he was in the hospital bed when he was at Liberty.
Yeah. Lanning would take it if offered top 5 money. He's just not.
No, he would. Okay, first of all, can I just say real quick, just to make something clear? If Florida hires a sitting power conference head coach, almost any of them will be a top 5 paid head coach.
Yes.
Like, whoever Florida hires, unless it's like John Summerall or whatever, or Will Stein, is going to become a top 5 paid head coach. Like, that's just the amount of money. Like, that's just where the market's at. That's what Florida's about to do.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Mullen was a top, when we hired Dan, he was top 10 for sure.
Something like that.
And then Billy Napier, I think it was still like top 15 or 12 even maybe when we hired him.
Billy is
like 25 now.
24 this year.
24th. Like, but when we hired him, it was like top 12 or something like that. So, it's just the market adjusting, and I don't know how much higher it could get from Lane. Like, who were we're getting a bit off topic here, so no, maybe we'll move on from this. But here's the best comment: Billy G will go undefeated and take the permanent job.
Well,
How
it's so
is
funny that we
Billy
went from
Gonzalez?
Billy to Billy. He's like sick. He's like 57, I think, or 54.
He's only 54. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of figured he'd be a bit older than that.
He's been around a long time. Yeah, I mean, he was an OG Urban Meyer guy. Or not OG, but like OG Urban Meyer at Florida.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Especially because like I'd heard the retirement rumors for him, so maybe be in the 60s or something like that.
I will just say, I love that, by the way. I love that they gave it to Billy G. I think that's an awesome opportunity for him. Like, just been, it's not quite the same because he's not like a program guy in the same sense, but it kind of feels like Odell Haggins at Florida State, sort of just like finally giving a guy an opportunity who's just been around for a lot of different stabs in a long time. He's been a good part of the program. I think he's gotten more flack over the years than he deserves. I think he's done a pretty good job whenever he's been here.
Fans will chant higher Billy.
They actually should. That'd be so funny.
For me, this is a 12-hour conversation, but I haven't seen any Gators willing to stay on for 12 hours to talk about it. Yeah. All kidding aside, the nonstop hourly shows are great for diehard Gator fans. Yeah, it really is. And honestly, personally, I kind of like hearing the national people talk about the job a bit more. Mm-hmm. And that's not me saying that we don't have great podcasters here. We do, but I like hearing the outside sources, not necessarily sources, but the outside voices give their opinions. And it's nice to hear everyone talking about our job being the best available and talking about the legitimate candidates.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I think that has been the most interesting thing to me throughout this process is like seeing that the job still has that kind of cachet nationally. Cause I really didn't know that it did. I thought maybe that had dwindled a little bit. And, just seeing people because taking off, trying to turn off my homer brain and just try to think about it objectively. I think Florida is probably a better job than Penn State, but I think it really depends on the coach. I think there's some coaches who would think Florida's better. I think there's some coaches who would think Penn State's better. But I mean, I think the fact that people, or better fit, or just I think resource wise, they're probably pretty similar. I mean, I think you could argue.
I think resources are pretty similar, but Florida's location.
Advantage. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, recruiting is a lot more national now. It's a lot easier when it's just kind of about who can win a bidding war. That's not all it is. There's more to it than that, but that's less of a negative than it used to be. But point being, just seeing all these national guys be like, this is still a premier job. Like people just the fact that the Kiffin thing hasn't been people. I haven't really seen anyone that's not like an Ole Miss fan be like, why the hell would Lane Kiffin take that job? I think everyone understands why Lane Kiffin.
Tim Brando.
Oh man, don't even get me started on that. Calling Florida fans toxic, man. I'm so sick of that narrative. This is the most supportive fan base in the country. Literally the most supportive.
Selling out the only reason our sellout streak is only 17 is because we had a Sunday game because of a hurricane.
I mean, Billy got a leash of 15 games that he probably didn't deserve. I mean, that's the level of patience and support that Billy Napier had here. Also, Tim Brando is the same guy who was a guy that was Mike White's going to make Florida regret their decision to let him go. So,
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, man.
What do you mean our decision? We were so upset to see him leave for our rival Georgia.
That was, that's just that was such, I don't want to get us too sidetracked, but that was so funny that a coach left for our biggest rival and it was not a bad thing. In any other circumstance, that would have been a nightmare.
Absolutely. But no, let's get into maybe a dark horse candidate. I know we were talking, I think, someone actually, let me get this real quick. User, I'm just going to say user here. Jeff Brom. I think it's an interesting name because of the fact that he did just go beat Miami. He's really good in big time games. More top 5 wins than any recent coach since Urban Meyer. So does he have more top 5 wins than Urban Meyer did at Florida? Oh, okay. I'm including Jeff Brom at 2 different jobs. So maybe that's a bit unfair, but no, I mean, Brom would be a good coach.
The offense would be good.
I've heard lots of recruiting concerns. I've heard he's a 9-to-5 coach.
Maybe
he's not going to go put the extra mile in for recruiting. So that's kind of the thing that probably not who we would want.
I have Brom 5th on my board right now. And that board is pretty fluid, but I have him right around there, 5th or 6th.
And then one other name we'll mention real quick before we get into our underdog candidates. Jed Fish. He just hasn't been able to win big games.
Yeah, well, I would be in on Fish if he had more proof of concept at Washington. He just really doesn't.
I'll say beat Indiana. That's a good start. We're not gonna be hiring a coach. I mean, until after the season at a minimum. At a minimum there. So like, who knows when we are hiring a coach? But Jed Fish, like, if he can find a way to get to 9-3, it wouldn't be the worst coach in the world.
No, and he'd want it because it's his alma mater.
Yeah.
So like, you would come in and get you would get a guy who really wants to be here. That's not nothing.
I heard the only reason Fish even went to Florida was to learn under Spurrier.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of just like a Lane Kiffin, Kirby Smart, even like love football because of Spurrier, and Jed Fish like learning football because of Steve Spurrier there. So he probably would want it. I mean, the pay raise he would definitely want.
Yeah,
but if he gets a 9-3, then I think he'd be a solid third or fourth option after Freeman and Kiffin.
Yeah, I agree. He needs to win more games. But I think the thing with Fish that is interesting is he is kind of like the new breed of coach. I mean, he's an NFL guy. Like his background's in the NFL.
Yes.
And I think that is kind of translating a lot better than it used to because of the way obviously just everything's changed. Like Jed Fish is a guy that like I would like would it surprise you if the search goes kind of bad and Florida turns to Jed Fish and they hire him and there's question marks, it's not the most exhilarating hire, but would it surprise you if 5 years later we look back and go like, man, Florida nailed that hire? Like if Jed Fish is just really good. Like I'm being serious. Like I think
No, I get what you're saying.
Like that, I think that could be one where you look back and go like, man, no one was fired up about that, but that has actually worked out really well. I could see it being a hire like that, but I agree. He wouldn't be a guy. He wouldn't even be 3 or 4 to me. There's a lot of guys I would prefer to him just because I think they've shown a little bit more.
That's kind of why I specified, like, if he's able to get to 9 wins, then, I maybe consider him like a third or fourth. It's also because I'm not a big fan of Drink or Braum or Lashley or Clark. I mean, Clark Lease probably is going to get a raise at Vandy. Now, he's only making like $3 million right now, so how much that raise can be. Yeah. A raise could just be getting 5, but no. Like, I don't think Clark Lee is my personal candidate, especially because it's all Pavia so far. So I don't want to see Clark Lee under a new QB.
Yeah, I don't want to rain on the parade with Vandy and Clark Lee because like he deserves a ton of credit. Like they've nailed evals. Obviously Diego Pavia, but even outside of Diego Pavia, but it is just like you did just get a really good quarterback, and he was already good. I mean, Diego Pavia, dominated Auburn when he was at New Mexico State. Like he was already balling. So it's like, yeah, I would like to see that be more sustained. And I think we might've talked about this at some point before, but like the skill set that has led to him being good at Vanderbilt, I don't think is necessarily the same skill set that's required of you to win at a job where there's a lot of resources, but also a lot of pressure,
Yeah. And I mean, something we do got to remember back in 2022 when Vandy upset Florida. Well, the week before that, they had also upset Kentucky, a good Kentucky team. So
the one that killed us, right? Are we talking about 23?
No, that was the.
No, sorry, you're right. That was 20. Yeah,
that was
they didn't kill us, but they did beat us
after we beat Utah. Yeah,
yeah.
So maybe there was some smoke there right away for Vandy and Clark Lee building something that could maybe even surpass Diego Pavia, especially now that they're getting fans, they're getting some more attention around the football program. Maybe they can go to making a bowl game consistently instead of just being the bottom dweller in the SEC.
Yeah. Well, it was weird because he did like a 2-10. He did a 2-10, 5-7, 2-10 thing where they kind of showed some steps in the right direction and then completely backslid. And then they went from 2-10 to 7-6 last year with Diego Pavia. And obviously now they're set 6-1.
You know why they went from 5-7 to 2-10? They lost to Ray Davis.
Sure. But I mean, like, yeah, that's something he wouldn't have to deal with. But I think Lee is kind of in the bucket. I kind of view Lee the same way I view Brent Key, but I think I like Brent Key more.
I don't think we can do Brent Key. Here's the thing. Is Brent Key the best coach on his coaching staff? Or is it
Maybe
Buster Faulkner?
not. Maybe not. I mean, if Faulkner doesn't get a head coaching job, you might bring him though. Because I mean, I think teams tried to woo him away to be an OC last year. I don't know if he's going to get like significant head coaching interest. So maybe you could bring him with you. I don't know.
I don't know if it's going to be this cycle, but I think next cycle.
Yeah, but I'm saying you might get at least a year out of Buster Faulkner. I mean, I don't really like Brent Key's style. I don't like the way they play.
Yeah.
I think
close games.
And just very I mean, their offense is basically just having Haynes King take a beating for 60 minutes. I mean, that's kind of their offense. I've
heard that it kind of goes under the radars because they find ways to win games. This isn't me personally saying I viewed this, but a lot of people say he makes a lot of bad in-game coaching decisions that sometimes are just able to get lucky, don't work against them.
Well, it's like they'll. I think a good way to sum it up is like they've won multiple games. I think on fire drill field goal situations where it's like they. So it's like you have to be well coached to do that, but also
that's true.
You maybe mismanaged the timeouts to put yourself in that position. You know what I mean? So it's like kind of a double-edged sword. I will say if Brett Key wins out and makes the play, or even if they lose to Georgia, but if he goes undefeated in the ACC, goes to the playoff, that probably shoots him up to at least 3 or 4 on my board. I think I would feel a lot differently about him if he does that.
He would definitely have an infectious intensity to him that could get fans and people riled up about him. And I mean, hating Georgia, he's going to have that with him as well. So that's a bonus that maybe
never
if
a play
if
caller,
they lose or even if they win.
Offensive line guy, never a play caller. So again, a guy where you would really need to nail the coordinator hires because he's not a guy that's going to have significant input offensively or defensively. I don't think.
Yeah, but let's get into some under the radar coaching hires. I know you had one before, but not Alex Golish.
No.
Sorry.
I think FSU could hire him though. I could see FSU hiring him.
I think FSU. We'll talk about this in a minute.
Yeah, are you talking about So
who's your dark horse candidates?
Will Stein, is that who you're talking about? The one we were talking about earlier? Yeah, Will Stein. Yeah. I mean, it's risky, and I don't think it's a risk Florida can afford. To be perfectly honest with you, hiring a coordinator. But man, if you shoot your shot with Kiffin and he says no, and you call Marcus Freeman and he's like, I'm happy in South Bend, and your options are Drinkwitz, Franklin, you probably should just hire Drinkwitz in that situation. But man, I could be sold on just taking a chance on a guy who I think is really good in Will Stein. I mean, he'd have the offense cooking. He's a Dan Lanning guy. So, I mean, I think I just kind of try. I think Dan Lanning really is just a very good, X's and O's football coach. And hopefully that rubs off on his assistants. I mean, again, it's risky because this is a hire you really can't afford to get wrong. And it's probably in a way, I mean, not even in a way, it really is riskier than Napier was, less proven than Napier was when we hired him. But man, if you could just take a chance and end up getting the next kind of Dan Lanning guy, a guy who wasn't really on people's radars, but quickly emerged as one of the best coaches. That'd be awesome. Granted, he's 32 or something. He's pretty young.
Yeah. Getting that next guy would be a very big thing. One thing I do find interesting with Will Stein, he's from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Is it crazy that Texas could open up in a couple of years?
Want to hear what's less crazy? A&M could open up this year. I've heard Elko's name. I don't either. But the fact that it's come up from national people and not immediately gotten of course that's not going to happen. I'm at least interested. I'm at least interested in that. I'm at least monitoring the situation.
Okay,
Kerwin Bell.
Kerwin Bell, man, come on.
Hey, he's still coaching at a high level, man. Is he actually? I don't even know how good Western Carolina is.
I mean, they're probably solid at minimum.
Let's see how he's doing at Western Carolina. He is not really, actually. 4-7, 6-5, 7-4, 7-5, 1-3 this year. He's 25 and 24. Yeah, he's 25 and 24. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, they might just be like way under resourced compared to everyone in the Southern Conference. I couldn't tell you, but so maybe that's not a fair judgment. But on its face, not a particularly impressive run at Western Carolina for Kerwin Bell.
No. He's the Arizona State head coach. Yeah, Kenny Dillinghorn, a dark horse. I think that's a bit of a maybe not as much as a dark horse, but
I think Dillingham is a guy that, like, I don't think he's really looking to leave. I think he's happy at Arizona State, but I think he is a guy that, like, Florida could probably make him an offer he couldn't refuse. Like, I think if Florida really went all in on Kenny Dillingham, I'd be surprised if he said no, even though he is at his alma mater. It really is crazy. There's so many of these like tertiary names on the list that are at their alma maters. I mean, Brom, Dillingham, Lee, Key, like all of these guys are coaching at their alma maters.
Yeah, I guess Jed Fish is the right guy for us.
Yeah, that's the new meta. Just hiring a guy who went there. I would be curious, Adam, to hear the logic for Brent Key over Drinkwitz, because I don't really think there's a great argument.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't want
to hear why
either, but I would definitely take Jurek over Brent Key.
I mean, I don't think there's an argument to be made other than I don't really like his personality, which, like, that's fair, but I don't think
if you win, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Because you'll like it if you win. Again, it's the same with Lane. If Lane loses, like, I guarantee you the tweeting yoga pictures or whatever, if you're 7-5, would be annoying. I guarantee.
All right, let's wrap this segment up here. Is there any other names that maybe we forgot to mention? I mean, I know I've seen some people say Urban Meyer or Nick Saban.
No,
like, we just need to get through with the previous generation of college football coaches. Like, it's moving on time.
There was the one we talked about off air as kind of the complete out of nowhere wild card, which would be Cliff Kingsbury.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, people just want Cliff because he coached Patrick Mahomes and had a fun offense. But again, if you have good offense, it doesn't mean you're a good coach. You can still go 6-6 with a good offense, which he did a lot, or mostly.
And the thing with him, and also the thing with Joe Brady, who's a name I've also seen tossed out a little bit, both of those guys have a pretty good shot of being NFL head coaches next year. And I don't think someone who's been coming up in the NFL who has a shot to be an NFL head coach is going to come join college football at this weird transitional period of time. I wouldn't do that. Like, I would not do that. I would be like, nah, I'll go be the coach of the Cardinals, or in Cliff Kingsbury's case, he's not getting that job. But you know what I mean?
I was about to say,
I'll go be the coach of the Titans. I'll go be the coach of the Ravens if they fire John Harbaugh, like, whatever.
I was about to say, actually, you mentioned Cardinals, an interesting thing here. What if coach just decides to take a detour and go stop at Stanford with Andrew Luck? Because Andrew Luck's running it like an NFL team where he's the general manager and he's getting the coach. I mean, Frank Wright, that was obviously just a last minute do what you can thing for Stanford there. But, like, could that be something maybe where you can get an NFL guy to come down there to Palo Alto to maybe just take a year or two? Like, I don't know what Stanford's going to be looking like, on how their job's going to be looking like. I mean, Frank Wright's going to be gone for the season. But
so actually, I've kind of heard enough that I'm a little interested to see what Stanford's able to do in this, because they obviously have the academic stuff, which is always going to limit them a little bit, but they have money, and it sounds like they're starting to wield it a little bit more strategically, I guess is the way I would say that.
Let's hold this note for a second. I just want to hold this note for 1 second. We'll get right back to it. Sorry. Dabo is a
no.
You know,
no.
There are only a few national championship coaches left. If Dabo would hire a GM to handle NIL, he would be good. No, because he's also not going to use the portal.
No, because it's philosophical. Like, you're like, if Dabo was not Dabo, then it could work. Which, yeah,
oh my God.
I agree. But
Dabo's the next coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but okay. That was a
all I
way
was
to
saying
end
about
that segment.
Stanford all I was saying about Stanford was they actually, I was talking about the Virginia Tech cash influx and how that's like not as real necessarily as it seemed. I think Stanford has some real cash that they are pulling together. So point being, they're trying to make that job attractive. And I'm really curious if they're able to pull anyone that you're like, wow, I did not think Stanford could get that guy. Just thought.
Okay. I didn't expect that. I mean, I know Luck. I think I did see something actually saying Stanford has like a pretty big investment coming in, didn't I?
Yeah, they got a big gift. And it's like not all of it is like earmarked to be able to spend immediately, but like some of it is. So like they actually have like a legit influx of cash like that they have now and like more that's coming. So that is intriguing. Again, obviously like the academic stuff is always a limiting factor a little bit.
If Billy wasn't Billy,
Yeah,
we would be players right now.
Like, yeah, that's like, that's like
the
if Billy hired an OC thing. Like, so you can't do that. You can't separate, like, that is an integral part of how Billy views himself as a coach. Like, that is an important part of Billy's psyche. It's like, I don't want to call him narcissistic, like, personally, but I think he's a little bit narcissistic in terms of managing a program, in the sense that I think Billy struggled to delegate stuff, it seems, which is weird for a guy whose whole thing was, I'm going to go hire 100 guys in polos, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe Ole Miss would be the job for Billy. No, but
There you go. I would just pencil in John Summerall if we get Lane. I think that's like a done deal.
What? But does Summerall take Ole Miss or Kentucky? I've heard Kentucky might have the money.
I think Ole Miss is the better job. It depends how serious. It depends how serious. Because Kentucky has money, it just depends how serious they are about spending it on football.
Because he's an alum, like.
No, I know. Yeah, I'm saying like the emotional connections might outweigh it, but also like if Kentucky's ready to pull in Indiana and be like, "Hey, we have money and we're tired of not spending it on football and having a bad football program," then okay, like you might be able to go do something.
Yeah, maybe Kentucky starts to start being mid at basketball too.
Yeah,
like Indiana did. No, but going back to the FSU James Franklin, I kind of think that's where that's going to go.
I could see it. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because he's a big-time coach, you know. He's had a lot of really good football teams. I mean, obviously there was a collapse here, but he should bring some consistency to that FSU program that they desperately need. And it's $50 million, $60 million, whatever the buyout is. I think $60 million-ish for FSU. It's going to be expensive. So you get a coach who has no buyout. That's a really that would be a really big sign, a really good thing for FSU there. So, and I think at this point, I know we've talked about FSU and the buyout; they're not going to be able to afford it. But at this point, the money's going to be there. You can't.
They're going to find a way. You'll find a way. It just I don't know what that entails. I mean, this is the same program that's like looked into private equity and stuff in the past. I think their financial situation is a little bit better now than it was a couple of years ago, but. I don't know how they're going to finance it, but I think they're going to find a way to, because this is kind of untenable at this point.
Billy will hire an OC in his next job and put money on it.
I'd be more willing to bet he goes back to like a Sunbelt level job and just doesn't, but probably also wins.
I know there's been the reports that UAB has it wasn't specified what team, but the assumption was probably UAB.
I think that would be a good move, honestly. Like, I don't think Billy Napier like won't succeed anywhere ever again. I don't think Billy can succeed at a job of this caliber unless he really internalizes a lot of lessons. Yeah, from how these last 4 years went down. But I think Billy could go back to the Sun Belt or just a good G5 job and be good. I mean, it's like Dan. I think Dan's a good coach. I think Billy is a good coach and he's a good CEO. And that's really all you need to be, because like at Louisiana, he just had the most talent on the field every week.
So I'm looking at a FSU hot board version 1.0 for a new coach. There's a name on this list. Jimbo Fisher.
I mean, honestly, it'd be a little awkward. And I think a lot of them kind of hate him. But like, why not? I can't believe I'm saying that. And this isn't even a troll. Like, this isn't even a like, yes, FSU, please go hire Jimbo Fisher. Like, legitimately, like, maybe.
So let me read off these names. Tell me if you think they could land him and if you think they should hire him. So first name is James Franklin. I think that would be a good hire.
Yes and yes. Yeah.
I think that might be the best hire they can make at this point. Rhett Lashley, I don't think Rhett Lashley would either SMU for FSU.
I think it's
SMU
possible.
has money.
Yeah, they
SMU
do.
has money.
But they're not giving it to him, which is weird.
I think they will.
They probably. I mean, if he's still there next year, he'll be making a lot more money than he is right now. That is for certain.
Brent Key, I don't think Key would leave GT for FSU.
No, I don't either.
Like Glenn Schumann, that's interesting.
Yeah, he would take it for sure.
Do you think they should? Do you think that's a move they should make though?
I mean, let me just answer that question with another question. Georgia's defense doesn't look great. Is there any chance, like, is he the coordinator that could be in trouble? I don't know. Like, I doubt it.
So, in the offseason, I don't remember if I brought it up on here, but I was bringing up a stat. They lost 3 5-star edge rushers and 2 other top 200 4-star guys. And guess what Georgia's biggest problem on defense? Their edge rushers. Damon Wilson has 5.5 sacks, or I don't know if he had sacks against, it was against Auburn. He probably had some sacks in that game. So averaging over a sack a game. Like, Damon Wilson was a really good player, and they let him walk. Like, how much of this is defensive issues is on Georgia, NIL/roster management, and how much is it on Glenn Schumann?
That's fair, but I will just say, like, that is college football now. I mean, you can't hoard talent the way you used to. Like, that's not a unique
keeping
situation.
A starter. Damon Wilson's going to be an NFL player. He was a good player last year for Georgia. Like, this isn't losing a backup. Or, I mean, they lost 5 of them, 2 or 3 5-stars. Like, and then the other guy, like, good recruits. Like, if you keep Wilson, one of those other guys, like, maybe this Georgia defense is that little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, and this isn't really a Schumann thing. This is more of a Kirby thing at this point. But it's like, I'm also just like, you're
That's
Georgia.
What I was asking.
Replace them. Yeah, like, go get the guys. You're Georgia. What do you mean?
There's freshmen.
But yeah,
now.
I mean, that's young players. That's fair. Was that?
They're all just young freshmen now.
Yeah.
Next name, John Summerall. I don't think he will leave for FSU. He'll wait for a.
He'll take an SEC job this year. John Summerall will be coaching in the SEC next year. I'm almost
or North Carolina if they find a way to open. I know he would have taken the job last year. So
you would have taken the job last year when no SEC jobs opened, but now there's 2 that are open, 3 more that could potentially. Like, I mean, because if Florida doesn't hire Kiffin, there's probably a decent chance they're hiring Drinkwitz, and then Missouri opens. And I think he would take Missouri potentially, even if Kentucky doesn't open. He would take Auburn for sure if Auburn opened. So I don't think they can get him because I think he'll be gone. Like, I think he's got other suitors that he would rather go to.
Yeah. Next name, Jeff Brom. I don't think he would leave his alma mater for FSU.
Probably not. I think they're gonna have a hard time poaching like an ACC coach that's not like Fran Brown. They could maybe get like Fran Brown.
So the next name's Clark Lee. I don't think he would leave, especially I think he's about to get a pay raise too. And then the next name was Jimbo, but then Fran Brown was that next name.
Which, I mean,
I could see that.
I think I like Fran Brown a lot. I think it's way too early. I think giving him a job like people who were like bringing up Fran Brown for Florida, I'm like, maybe in like a year.
It's one of those risky moves that, like, if it works, you look like a genius. If it doesn't work, then it's like, man, you really jumped the gun here.
If he gets Syracuse, I mean, they're not going to do it this year. They're bad. Losing the quarterback hurt. But I mean, if he can get them, like, if they can bounce back next year and be like a 9-10 win team again, then we're talking a little bit, because that's like some consistency. But like right now, you could kind of pretty easily argue that like he just put together a really good offense with Kyle McCord, who was just like still a very talented player.
And then the last name, Alex Golish. I could see that.
I think that is like, I think if Franklin for whatever reason doesn't work out, I think that's like the no-brainer what they do.
Yeah. Don't want Dion. I think he's gonna have to retire. His medical issues are too.
You can't. Yeah, I mean, you certainly can't hire Dion, and it's nothing personal. I would have. I know you don't feel the same. I mean, maybe not with the way this season has gone, but like going into the season, I would have had Dion on my list. But I just think with the health stuff, it's too much. Hopefully everything's good with him. But no, going back to FSU though, like they're in a weird spot, I think, because I actually do think FSU is a pretty good job, but I think if it opened, it would immediately still be pretty easily the third best job open, like not particularly close to the top two. And I think if Auburn opened, it becomes 4.
That's all. Okay. I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah, I think if Auburn opened, it becomes 4. So like, I guess the point I'm making is like FSU's a good job and they can hire a good coach, but like, you're not going to be able to poach. Like, I don't doubt that they would make a run at Lane Kiffin. There's 0 chance Lane Kiffin's taking that job with Florida. Like, if he's leaving, he would take Florida over Florida State in a heartbeat. So like, that's my point. They can't really go.
There's probably only like 2 jobs Lane would leave Ole Miss for. I mean,
yeah. And one of them he's never going to get. One of them he'll never get in a million years. Yeah, exactly. Like that just they would never consider.
If there's an unrealistic job opening, but like there's only 2 jobs, and Alabama ain't opening.
No, in Alabama, and if it did, they're not going to hire him. So
yeah, I mean, I know you said LSU, you might worry a little bit, but I don't.
Yeah, I think that's one of them. That's one that I would say Lane would consider. No, but like I think like, I mean, if you're looking at like. I don't think they're gonna have. I don't think they could hire Drinkwitz. I don't think they could hire Lee. Like I think just the new era of the sport, unless you're just at a real bottom feeder job, like the ACC is not a fun place to be right now. I mean, even though FSU's making more money than most of the ACC because of the their new rev share deal that gives like them and Clemson more money. Even in spite of that, it's still not really comparable to what the SEC and Big Ten are making. And then you've got the uncertainty of a conference that's probably going to collapse in the next 5 years. So, I mean, I think they're going to have to probably go G5 or like coordinator or like pretty tough job other P4.
If LSU were to open up, who do you think LSU gets? Do you? I mean,
you got to think they would make a run at Joe Brady, right? You got to think they would make a run at Joe Brady.
I don't
know. Maybe not, but it's like, I mean, I think they would try for Freeman. I think they would maybe try for Lane.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. Would LSU want to go back to Notre Dame?
Yeah, I know it'd be funny, but like, I mean, maybe they try to woo Lincoln again. I mean, they had their shot at him. They went kind of full court press and didn't get him. So. I mean, that's a tough one because like I don't think Brian Kelly's like a great, I think Brian Kelly's a good coach, but like I don't think Brian Kelly's like at the highest level of the sport. But I don't really know if there's like an easily apparent coach that's better. Like it's very similar to Franklin to me, where it's like I would understand if you want to move on from this guy, but I'm just not sure the replacement's going to be any better. Whereas with Billy, I think almost every name we've talked about would probably be an improvement over Billy.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, is there a name we talked about that wouldn't be one?
No, that's kind of just like, so I mean, Florida's search is easier. Here. I mean, that's like the thing that makes Florida's search easier in a way. Cause I know if Florida hires anyone that's not Freeman or Lane, people are not going to be happy. But I will say almost anyone they could hire will probably still be an upgrade. So it's good in that sense where like, you can't really go wrong in the sense that like, you can't do something that's going to set you back further than you already are set back.
Who's the coach that makes us do a Tennessee Greg Schiano? Where we just know, like, there's no way.
It would probably be Brent Key.
I don't think they'd do that for Brent Key.
I don't know. I don't know. Y'all in the chat can tell us how you feel about Brent Key. I get the sense that the fan base is not at all enthused about that. They would be pissed about Franklin. I don't think that's necessarily fair, but it's just how it is. I mean, obviously, like if you hired Gus Malzahn or something like that, but
okay.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, all of these names, like none of them are like so egregious. Also, though, like Tennessee should have hired Greg Schiano. They probably would have been better than they were with Jeremy Pruitt.
Wasn't Heupel the?
No, that was the Pruitt hire. I'm like almost 100% sure. Yeah.
Really? I thought it was.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah, 2017. That was a Jeremy Pruitt hire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guess so. Franklin and Heck. Oh,
I mean, to be fair, like Georgia Tech is not Florida. Like I'm not saying he would come in and acquire talent at the level that like Lane would, but I think it's kind of like, it reminds me of like people who look at like Jeff Monken and are like, well, like I wouldn't want to hire Jeff Monken at a bigger job because he's a triple option guy. He's like, he does that because he has to. Like he doesn't do that because it's what he thinks is the best thing to do.
Another name for the Florida job that we have, Todd Monken.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right, let's wrap up the show here with our last segment. We spent a lot of time talking about this, but it makes sense. We're talking about
it's the We Fired Billy show. We've done like a month of these where it's just like limbo and we don't really know what to say because it's just there's not much to say, but we finally have something to talk about. That's real.
Yeah, it's real finally. But now that Billy Gonzalez has been hired as the interim head coach and Russ Callaway, I don't know if I've seen it official. I've heard many people say it, so I'm assuming. I mean, it's going to happen. Russ Callaway will call plays.
Yeah. I like when I was writing about it today. No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, what does this staff need to do in the next 2 weeks to get us prepared for the rest of the season? And I mean, hopefully they can show us something that we looked at for something with Billy. You know, maybe the predictability on the play calling. Like, how much could this staff realistically do to get that offensive play calling to a better level, or offensive play to a better level?
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're gonna find out, but like I'm willing to bet a noticeable amount. Like, I mean, I think, look, I mean, Florida has been competitive in these games, and the plays are there. Like, we know Dallas Wilson and Vernell Brown and Jaden Baugh are real guys, like guys who, if they entered the portal, would be among the most heavily coveted players at their positions. Probably Baugh would be number one. Probably Baugh would be definitely the number one running back in the portal if he entered.
Yep.
So point I'm trying to make is that Florida has guys that are like legit players, and I'd be lying if I told you that I look at Russ Callaway with an air raid background, that I look at our new interim head coach being a wide receivers guy and the young talent at receiver Florida had. Look, I think they're going to come out with some bells and whistles in the Georgia game.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if it's enough. Like, I'm not saying they're going to like completely overhaul the offense, but I think, yeah, I mean, you've got the bye, you've got extra time to install some stuff. You've got nothing to lose. Russ Callaway is trying to get an OC job next year. Billy Gonzalez is, I mean, I don't know what his plans are from here. But he could be trying to get a job for himself too. So, I mean, I think they're going to come out and show a little bit, and maybe I'm totally off base there, but I think it's got me very intrigued, and it's why I'm glad this happened, because I really did want to see what an interim staff here could do down the stretch without being burdened by Billy's offensive philosophy, which we just know doesn't work.
Yeah, play vertical, plays are there. Just need to know when to run them and change it up. Have the O-line be more aggressive and come off the ball more. I mean, I don't hate it. You know, go vertical. You know, we have the receivers, Dallas Wilson. You know, I know Vernell Brown, Adam Mizell both got hurt. Luckily, we have 2 weeks to get them all healthy up. I mean, I know this is defensively. I know Devin Moore, I think he's going to be good to go and everything. I think he's not going to be seriously injured, I should say. But I do wonder if we have any player opt-outs or how many we have, if there's any significant ones. Because it could be something that affects us for the rest of the season.
It could, but it's like, who are the candidates to do that? Because to me, if you're not like a Baugh level player, I think you're much better served putting film out there these next few weeks than, especially now that you can't, first of all, you can't immediately enter the portal. And you were past the point where any of these guys, except for Dallas, and actually how many games has Dallas played in now?
3.
Okay, so he could still do it if he wanted to, and preserve a red shirt, but most of these guys can't. So, I mean, I'm not saying you won't see one. I will just say, first of all, at all these jobs that have opened, pretty much at none of them have guys been entering the portal en masse. I think like a few Oklahoma State guys did.
I think Virginia Tech had a starting corner or a good corner.
Yeah, Virginia Tech had a couple too. You're right. I don't think UCLA had many, if any. I don't think Arkansas has had any. I don't think Penn State has had any. So, I mean, like, I think you'll see a couple maybe, but I don't expect like Florida to be significantly depleted down the stretch here.
Rob, I think tight ends opt out because Billy G will not let them touch the field.
Yeah,
That's
I would
one
hope.
thing.
Yeah,
That's one thing that with Russ and Billy G, play less 2 tight end sets.
yeah.
Because, I mean, we can also complain about the O-line and run blocking, but tight ends, when they're on the line, they're blocking just like an O-lineman. And if Hayden Hansen or Amir Jackson or Tony Livingston whips on a block, we're blaming the O-line for a play that was made because on the tight end.
Yeah.
And I'd rather us spread them out. Honestly, we should spread it out more and give Bob more space to work with because that's when he's cooking. You let him get out there and make plays, and it's like you're congesting everything to where there's less room for him to work and less room for him to break free on stuff like even the run game
DJ's
could
more
benefit.
comfortable. DJ's more comfortable.
100%.
Yeah.
He's a better quarterback when you're kind of just letting things be a bit more loose. Like DJ's going to make mistakes at this point. We know that. That's not a question. That's a matter of when, not if. But you're going to get bigger plays when you let him spread it out. Just kind of let the offense flow. We don't need to make this 4D game of chess that turns out is checkers, and just let the offense be simple and, hand the ball off the ball, throw it to Dallas Wilson. I mean, J. Michael Sturdivant also had some nice catch, had a nice catch against in the last couple of games now, actually. Like, we have the receivers to where if you can just let them go out there, run, play their game, and then give the ball, let him play his game, give him some open space. We can score on this Georgia defense. I mean, we can score. Is there any would it be crazy to say that we could score 30-plus points in every single defense we face the rest of the year? Not saying we will score 30 points, but like individually. Georgia,
Tennessee and Ole Miss pretty suspect defensively. Georgia somewhat suspect defensively.
Kentucky, I mean, maybe Kentucky slows the game down.
Are we really about to say that Kentucky's the best defense Florida still has to play?
I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident we are. But I think that's more Kentucky slowing the game down.
Yeah.
So, like, I think Kentucky tries to slow the game down. But, yeah, Ole Miss, I think we can score 30-plus on them. And so I think Lagway making the mistakes probably what loses us that game. But, and then, Tennessee's defense is not good. And, I mean, FSU's defense, I mean, they only gave up 20 to Stanford.
I will say I do worry about our defense a little bit with the injuries piling up and just the fact that, like, in all of these games, there have been plays there that the opponent has not been able to take advantage of. If you get to like Ole Miss or Tennessee, they might just start hitting those plays. You know what I mean? And that is something that concerns me a little bit.
Yeah, I'll say Javari Flowers ended up being our highest rated player on defense. So I don't know if he's still 17. I know he was reclassified from the 2027 or 2026 class to 2025. So I know he's a year younger, but I don't know if he's 18 yet or not. So shout out Javari Flowers for having himself a game and maybe winning him a good spot on our team next year if he wants to stay. I know he's from Miami, so it's like, oh, he's going to transfer to Miami. But I mean, it's hard to predict these types of things right now. So Flowers earning himself some rep and maybe more playing time. Like I know Cormani was questionable, so 2 weeks he'll be back, I assume. And then Devin Moore, I think he said he's all good. So I don't know if our 2 starting corners are going to be that questionable. But hey, it's going to be on the turf.
Did Denson come back in the game after he got hurt yesterday? Sharif Denson.
I haven't heard anything on him, to be honest.
Did he come back in the game or no?
I don't know. Probably not, but I don't know.
Okay. That's just another one that I just had kind of forgotten about.
Yeah, that's good to point out, though, because I completely forgot. But yeah, I mean, nickel spot, I mean, Lagonza Hayward played some pretty good moments that star linebacker role there. So we got some pretty good young players there, but the experience is very vital. Alfonso Allen or Jordan Castell?
Probably Jordan Castell, right?
I was trying to bait you into saying it.
No disrespect. You got me. You baited me in the sense that I thought about it for a second, but no. If you put Alfonso Allen back there against like Tennessee, it's going to be a long day, I would think.
All right, I'm going to ask you the question here. We're obviously going to do our pick for the Georgia game next weekend. as games go on, give out more picks. But do you think we make a bowl game? Or let's go through this first.
Yeah.
Florida's at 3-4 now, so we need to go 3-2 to end the season.
Yeah. That's basically Kentucky, and 2 more.
Kentucky will be favorites. We'll be favorites against FSU. I mean, we'll have to see how things look under an interim against FSU, but at this point, I would say, based on what we've seen, we'd be favorites over FSU. And, it's a home game. So we'd be favorites over those two. Tennessee's probably going to be, I mean, it depends on how we look against Georgia, Ole Miss, and Kentucky. And, over those 3 games against Tennessee. But I think Tennessee's spread will be within 1 score.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll see what the Georgia spread is. Georgia's spread probably going to be like 10-14.
Yeah.
And then Ole Miss also probably 10-14.
Yeah.
So
Tennessee,
do you think we can
probably like 7.5, maybe?
I don't think it'll be set. I guess it depends on how we look.
At home? Yeah, I mean, if we haven't gotten completely killed, if we haven't gotten if we look like competitive, if we at the very least play Georgia or I guess Ole Miss is after. So if we play Georgia the way we played like A&M to or Miami, to where it's I don't know, maybe not, but it's if it's not a win, but obviously not a Florida just got completely embarrassed in this game, then maybe just because it's in the swamp.
Yeah, just because it's in the swamp. So are you gonna say yes or no? Do you think we make a bowl?
So I think you get Kentucky. I'd say you probably get FSU, because I think Florida's better than FSU. And I also the difference between Florida and FSU is that FSU team does not seem to be playing for Mike Norvell.
No.
I'm not sure they would play for Gus Malzahn or Odell Haggins.
Castellanos took a bad hit. That was
no, dude. That was awful. That was really bad, and it was totally unnecessary too.
T-Law, the
Aziz Al-Shaair,
Aziz Al-Shaair, hit that was just bad.
And it was totally unnecessary too, because it was coming back for a hold anyway, completely unnecessary. I mean, I'm not sure he saw the flag or whatever, but
he was
unnecessary.
sliding.
That's not true, Chris. I just want to correct the record on that. That's only true if 2 of the wins are FCS. You can count 1 FCS win towards bowl eligibility.
Also, maybe this throws a wrench in things. We have a pretty high team GPA. 5 and 7 could get the bowl game.
Yeah, for purposes of this discussion, we'll say get a bowl game means 6 and 6. I would say.
Okay, now we're just changing up the discussion here.
Yeah, we're shifting the goalposts.
I'm just gonna say yes. I think we do. I think the home schedule is favorable enough.
Yeah, I think you win those 2, so I think you get to 5 for sure. And then I'm inclined to say that Florida maybe wins one of those other games, but it's also just it's hard for me to say that.
In the swamp since 03.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm gonna say no, because I think that there's a chance Florida wins one of those games, but I also would it shock you if Florida lost to Kentucky on the road? Would that shock you? Because it wouldn't shock me.
I'll say
they took Texas to overtime. They almost beat Ole Miss.
As I was gonna say, before the Texas game, I would have said yes, but Texas taking Texas to overtime, makes me say maybe I wouldn't be as shocked as I would have before. Mm-hmm. I still think Kentucky's really bad, so I'd probably put that percent maybe 80-20.
Ooh, I don't
when
know.
Before I may have even had it 90.
I'm probably more like 70-30, but
I'm really low on Kentucky.
I'm high. I think Florida has a better chance of beating FSU in the swamp than they do Kentucky in Tallahassee or in Lexington. That's kind of where I'm at this point. I mean, look, Florida has struggled there. Florida has played some really tough games there. They've lost there. I mean, obviously last year's Stoops didn't fare too well against Billy's teams. I mean, I know this isn't Billy anymore. We'll see how different it actually looks. Because while I just kind of went on a whole spiel about how I think it like is going to be different, I'm not sure that's like a complete given. I mean, I think you could just see some of the same problems continue to linger.
I'll say if Billy was coaching, I think we get a 6-6 because Kentucky road win against a really bad team that you win by maybe 1 or 2 scores like Mississippi State last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tennessee's the one, I guess that'll be the second big win against a team that's better than you, but they're at the swamp, so you get that. And then a bad FSU team comes in, you probably win that game, ugly game that you win by a score or 2. Like that kind of feels like a very Billy Napier like schedule, or like at least like last year.
Yeah, so, no, I mean, I can see that. I don't like the premise that Florida would have a better record if they kept Billy Napier, but it might be true. I mean, we're going to see if the guys like keep playing for the rest of the staff. And I mean, I don't have a reason to think they won't, but there's definitely, I mean, look, you saw the way they were posting and stuff. These guys really cared about Billy. Like there's no doubt about it. Like Billy, these guys really did play for Billy. They liked Billy. So I don't think it's like a 100% given they'll continue to do that without him. Yeah. I mean, my gut kind of tells me Florida probably will find a way to get to a bowl game, but like looking at it logically, I don't feel like I can pick it, even though I kind of in my gut feel like it probably will happen.
Yeah, not so to, not quote Game of Thrones here, not quote Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. Don't fight for your king, Billy Napier, because he's gone now. Fight for yourself, fight for your money, fight for your team.
Yeah.
That's why you're going to go out there and fight Stannis's men, or go and fight these other opponents. You're going to do it for yourself. Do it for your own glory, your own money. So
that is kind of a roundabout like benefit of the way college sports have changed, because it is like the NFL in that sense, where like even on a bad NFL team, you might be tanking like your team, but if it's a contract year or whatever, like you still got to go and earn, you're playing for your livelihood. So that is kind of the dynamic here too. So I mean, all these guys, like even if you decided at 1:00 today when you heard that Billy Napier's getting fired, that you're hitting the portal as soon as the year's over, you can't just phone it in, because the portal is competitive and guys enter the portal all the time that think they're going to find something. More guys enter the portal than guys that come out of the portal, so just in general, like you're playing for money. You're playing for your livelihood. You're playing for your draft prospects. So, I mean, I think there's still a lot to play for if the team kind of embraces that mentality.
Absolutely. But hey, this was a good long show there. It was nice to have some fresh new stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing if Florida goes out and beats Georgia in 2 weeks?
I mean, I think it'd be awesome. I think, look, I'm very excited to be back to a point where I'm like no strings attached, just excited to watch and root for the Gators. Like there's not in the back of my mind, like, is winning this game even worth it in the long run? Like there's none of that anymore. Like it's over. We're moving on. Let's try to get to a bowl game this year and then go throw $14 million at Lane Kiffin or Marcus Freeman and see if they come.
$14 million, man, it's a lot of money. But,
it is, but it's what the number is going to be if it happens.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. But no, thanks everybody for watching. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Follow us. Turn on your notifications. Comment. I love to see y'all's opinions when I check the comments from all the videos. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great week. We will see you next Sunday. No Saturday show because there's no game. Predicting the Georgia game. Maybe one of us will predict the upset. Have some fight in us like the team hopefully does in that Georgia game. But no, thank you guys so much. We have a great week. And as always, go Gators.